So we're going to work out in this video really what variance looks like and how variance works. A lot of people struggle with this and they struggle to get their heads around it. But essentially, you've got to understand that actually a bookmaker is in the same boat as you. A bookmaker never knows whether they're going to lose money or make money on any individual bet. What they care about is the long-term outcome. So if you're someone who's value betting and you're looking to get the kind of results I've vlogged, 40 grand plus, with this specific method, then go underneath this video. You can learn ASAP. But this is going to be a visual on how this would play out over, let's say, 600 bets. Now, what I've done is I've got an algorithm made, and you can see there's several things going on here. So just to make it simple, you can see I've pretended, if you like, we're starting with 10 grand. Now, you don't need 10 grand at all to start with. It's just a very, very easy ballpark figure to pick. We're going to say that we're going to be betting £100 a time, and we'll imagine it's a coin flip. The coin flip is usually the basic way of explaining this kind of stuff because it only has two outcomes, win or lose, and it's a fair game. Unless the coin's weighted, obviously. So let's hope it's not. But anyway, if you lose the coin flip, let's say you bet heads and it's tails, then you're going to lose £100, sorry. I'm way too used to American and Canadians. My last product as well got snapped up. Doors are now shut, but I may reopen in the future. This one is focused on the UK only. But if you win, let's say it is heads. Let's label these. So tails and let's say heads, then you're going to win £100. So it's a 50-50 bet basically. Now I've set this to factor in a value gained EV of 4%. So you have to understand the thing with EV is that although it's expected value, it doesn't mean you're going to get it right away. It means you can lose several times before you make any money. So this is really, really helpful as a sort of scale of showing you that. What we have here, is basically a measure of where you get in terms of your balance over time and what the thresholds are. So profit targets and drawdown. You don't really need to understand that because I'm going to show you what this looks like after 600 bets as well as a graph, but it will help you understand the process. So let's imagine you flip the coin 600 times. Now, interestingly, what happens at the start is you actually lose a little bit of money. You can see if we start with 10 grand, already by bet 8, you're down £168, and then you go to 996, and then after that, you start to progress back into the positive. So what's happening here is every time, and this is how you're basically making money, if you're banking 4% EV, effectively a £100 stake is going to be worth £4. It doesn't mean you're going to make £4 right there and then. It doesn't mean that bet is exactly £4. It means if you keep placing bets, you'll be £4 up on average per bet. And that's why when you lose, instead of losing 100, you actually lose 96 effectively because you're gaining 4%. So that's how value betting works. And that's also how bookmakers make money out of gamblers. Every single bet that they allow a gambler to place is weighted against them. Effectively, the coin is weighted. It might be 55-45 in the bookmaker's favor rather than 50-50. So we're weighting the coin ourselves. By betting each way on horses, you're going to leverage the price and therefore end up in a winning position. So although you can't see that on your first couple of bets or your first 8 bets where you're actually down, if you start to look at the long-term trajectory, it ends up a bit like this. And slowly but surely, your balance raises. It doesn't jump exactly in line with, if let's say you made £4 on 50 bets, you're actually £800 better off at that point. But you can equally have swings where you start to lose. Okay, you can see we got to 11,216 and ultimately then losing almost £600 to the south side and then eventually £700. And you'll notice on many of my videos, there you go, another sort of £800 almost, and then £900. So you'll notice on my videos that that's exactly what happens. Sometimes I lose in a row and sometimes I lose quite a lot, but overall I win in the long term. So by bet 81, you've already placed 80 bets and you're still down. And then bet 82, you're still down. 83, you're down even more. And then you're down even more by 85. So you can see, although we're down here, by bet 100, we're actually £400 worse off, even though we should be £400 up. Okay, so at £800 under EV at that point. But if you keep playing through and placing more bets, eventually you start to go back into positive. Okay, and then what you'll see happen is that although you're teetering around with all these bets, the margin of 4% will ultimately play out and you'll start to see overall net gains. Now, remember, the margins normally that I'm filming are actually 3 times this. So instead of being 1,400 up, if you were taking the right odds with my method, okay, you would have 3 times that. But overall, even though we've gone into loss, you're now almost 2,500 up. And by the time you get to bet 600, okay, you're £1,600 up. Okay, so you can see that on a graph. Sometimes you go down, but overall you win. And that is exactly what I'm filming on every video. Okay, there is various videos on my YouTube channel now where the trajectory looks exactly like that. Whether it's in number form or it's in graph form, we're always winning in the long term because we're losing less than we should. Okay, effectively, and we're banking £4 for every single bet we place at an average of 4% EV. Now, typically as well, when you've got lower percent EV, it's going to take a longer time to play out. And you have to place more bets. But if you're finding the highest value and keeping the accounts, like you will in my new series that I've been posting tens of thousands of profit on tax-free, then you'll be able to last a long time and place high-value bets and have smaller swings in PL, effectively. That's why you don't need 10 grand to start doing that. But simply, you can see sometimes, even after 100 bets, we're still down. But if you trust the process, you'll get gains. The problem with this is that many people do not trust the process. So they quit. They quit and they miss out on the £40,000, £50,000 they could have had. And that's a real shame. But it does separate the winners from the losers. Essentially, those who quit and those who don't quit. And that's basically what splits winners and losers anyway. But you can see how this works, and you see how a computer basically shows you that visually now. And you can see it on the graph, I would say, in the best format, because that's showing you really, what it actually looks like as it plays out over time. So there's a clear demo there, nice and easy to understand. Typically, like I said, we're looking at 10 to 14% EV per bet. As I said, I'm going to put the price up in the new year. I work with some partners and the demand is fairly high, and I want to treat everyone fairly. So I'm going to put the price up. If you want to get a spot before then, go underneath the video. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, share, comment. See you in the next one.